Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, King Alpha. I and I, Divine Mother Empress Menen Queen Omega, and I the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family, popularly known as Africa. Yes, once and once, let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in I sight, O Jah. Greetings again, once and one. Once again, give thanks for lending ear, so I can articulate Rastafari. This word sound is one of them touchy one, you know? And it make me feel a way when I have to face the reality that some of I don't want to use the word hopeless, but I have to really come into the realization, say, there are obstacles. And we're not going to get anywhere until we remove these obstacles. Yeah, I know, say, ones and ones seems like I word sound is repetitive. And if I even think it's repetitive, it's consistent. And I present this consistency with facts because it is the only way how I have overcome, restore back I oneness. And in order to do so, I have to know and I have to face the harsh reality of what's in front of us. And right now, this presentation here is an example where I are going to use to bring this message across. And once again, know that it's always about the knowledge. Anyway, this is about the Karmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf incident. I don't know if ones and ones know about it, but if you don't, I am going to do my best to present it as best as possible. Now, regardless of feeling, life is precious and it should be safeguarded at all costs. With that being said, my condolence to the family of Austin Metcalf. Yet, once again, it proves that when it comes to black and white, in the created toxicity of America, only white life matter. Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf tragic incident. Two potential American stars are tarnished, one for life and the other light has been snuffed out. What comes after is a game that is older than both, and it will continue as a vestige of the Bacon's Rebellion. The legacy of this incident lives on in the dividing and rule of America. Better yet, the continued manipulation of poor, dare I say American, Daniel Bacon was a wealthy elite who wanted power and land equal to power, then and now. His desire was to expand westward into native lands, but was thwarted by Governor William Berkeley on the behalf of the elite. So he manipulated poor white indentured servants, freedmen, and slaves to rebel for the hopes of land inclusion and voters' rights. Sound familiar? Sound like the 60s? Yeah. They burned Jamestown, Virginia to the ground. It lasted from 1676 to 1677 until it was violently crushed by colonial authorities for the elite. Thus created the racial divide where the politicization of black and white were placed in front of poverty. White became an elevated status, granting them gun rights and land, while black became an inferior status of servitude, slavery, servants. By the way, Bacon's Rebellion may be the only time poor people stood together before racialization. What this got to do with the tragic incident and Rastafari. The birth of racial divide in America, which brought us MAGA and Trumpism today. Anyway, I came across this incident on YouTube randomly browsing Sunday, April 20th, 2025. When I saw Carmelo Anthony stabbing, I thought it was the NBA star, even though the name was spelled different. Once I clicked on the video, it was a discussion with Judge Joe Brown and a lady on this podcast called The Real Dana. They were having a discussion about this incident. I was taken aback by the judge framing of this incident, using his legal expertise to cast this young black youth in a negative light, almost as if he was laying the groundwork for this youth's conviction. Upon further investigation, I found out it had nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony, the NBA former player, nor this kid was his son or relation. What was it about? It was about two high schoolers, Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, getting into an altercation where a knife came into play and Austin was stabbed once by Carmelo in the chest, and Austin is now RIP. The incident occurred April 2nd, 2025 around 10 a.m. at Coy Kendall Stadium in Texas, in or around the 10th assigned to Memorial High School. The allegation is that it was raining and Carmelo took shelter under the Memorial High School tent. He was confronted by Austin Metcalf and twin brother Hunter, who demanded that Carmelo should vacate from under the tent. They say Carmelo refused, grab his bag from who, open it and push his hand inside and declared, "Touch me again and see what happened." This statement by itself sounds suspicious. Too combative, don't fit this personality profile of what we heard about Carmelo. Thus far, they are framing the public perception in a particular direction. Austin touched, punched, or grabbed him and got stabbed in the process. Then he ran away. Here it is, violent black youth. Afterwards, Anthony was apprehended by a police officer who raided in that I have the alleged suspect, which Anthony declared, "Not alleged, I did it." Sounds like a kid taking responsibility honestly, or maybe it could be perceived as being braggadocious, depending on which side of the divide you are viewing it from. Carmelo told the officer, "He put hands on me and I told him not to, and I defended myself." This is where they are using the kid's honesty to create the narrative of violent murderer. He was cuffed and placed in the back of the cruiser. He then went on to ask the officer if what he did could be considered self-defense. Then went on to ask if he is okay. Is he going to be okay? Referencing Austin. The officer quickly stated he did not question Carmelo. These are presented facts according to them. He was charged with first-degree murder and our ransom was set at $1 million for a kid who is a first-time offender. Also, chances are his parents could not afford and he had to sit and await trial. God knows for how long. This ban was definitely designed to hold him hostage within the system. This was reduced to $250,000 in another court appearance on April 14, 2025 by a fair-minded Republican female black judge named Angela Tucker. Ever since lowering Carmelo's bail, she has received numerous death threats. She stated in all her 13 years on the bench, it is the first she has received so many death threats. Racism is of the past, right? Anyway, the youth make bail and await the outcome of what's to come. Anyway, make we continue now. Why did the judge see it fit to reduce Carmelo's bail? Because he defies the typical stereotype of, of the young black troubled youth. He had no prior criminal history, which is normally the case. Deep ties to his community, not from a single parent household, and problematic. Carmelo's profile fits the white American two-parent household, working dad, stay-at-home mother, upscale neighborhood, and A-class student with a 3.7 GPA, captain of the football team and track team, which says responsible. Also working two part-time jobs while attending school and playing sports. If he was white, he would have been considered an all-American boy. Not so. Once you are black, you are everything but all American. Another rude awakening for the Anthony family. And the judge was no matter your achievement and status in America, you will always be black. No content of character will change that. Here comes the racial divide. Black teen stabbed white teen where he died into the arms of his twin brother who said, I looked into his eyes and saw his soul left his body and mine left too. Oh, so very touching. This is geared towards evoking serious emotion and response from mainstream media sensationalism, calling all MAGAs, calling all Proud Boys, calling all militia, calling all conservatives, black and white alike. And boy, did they drag this kid without hearing his side, especially cowardly black skinned YouTubers. Note, not one of these cowards questioned Austin Metcalf's behavior towards Karmelo. Why Austin felt he need to evict Karmelo from the tent into the rain, even though the tent was assigned to Austin's school Memorial High. Prior to Austin and twin brother Hunter appearance, no one else confronted Karmelo. Why is that? Maybe they did not see nothing wrong with him taking shelter under the tent. In some reports, it is said it started raining and he came under the tent to seek shelter from the rain, where he went and sat in the back. Again, why Austin was so adamant and aggressive about throwing Karmelo from under the tent, to the point where Karmelo stood his ground and declared, touch me again and see what will happen. Again, sounds scripted, but it is what they are reporting. Nonetheless, he must have felt threatened to grab his bag and place hand within, preparing to defend himself. Karmelo was definitely facing Austin and Hunter. The media outlets clearly are omitting and downplaying Hunter's involvement. On YouTube, I heard Hunter said he and Austin does everything, so naturally he would be standing at his brother's side. I think Austin took the lead as he always does and attack and got stabbed. Hunter saw that Carmelo was a lion and chose to attend to his brother's wound. Carmelo took this time to retreat and escape to safer grounds. The kid did not run like they are saying. If he was running, the police would have had more difficult time in apprehending him. He is an athlete. Process that for a moment. If Austin was a decent person with Christian-like tendencies, he would have shown care and understanding towards Carmelo, especially because it was raining. Instead, he chose to attack and got unalive. Not because Carmelo is from one of the opposing team means he should be subjected to mean-spiritedness displayed by Austin and Hunter. What about good sportsmanlike conduct? Other than competitive rivalry, there's no indicator that their school were at odds or they knew each other. So why the aggression from Austin? To the contrary, the reports say they don't know each other. So why Austin and Hunter were moving so aggressively towards Karmelo? Don't make sense. They are in the same school district and they are athletes. There are more to this story. But let us continue questioning this. Is it because he is black and he don't belong? Don't you realize this incident is curiously void of video recordings of the incident? In the era where everything is recorded, no video, could it be it might change the narrative about Austin and Hunter? Only time will tell. Who is Austin Metcalf? 6 feet, 220 to 225-pound linebacker at Memorial High School, who potentially was on his way to play college football. He is a leader and he is a good kid. They say, what about academics performance? Apart from athletics, they say his grade point average is 4.0. Beyond this, I saw a picture of him fatigue up with rifle looking like a proud boy or a poster child for the National Rifle Association. Heck, he could be part of a militia too. His action towards Karmelo screams athletic bully type. Why the aggression towards a kid they claim he does not know? Unlike Karmelo Anthony, he is from a broken home. Mother and father are separated. Why? Speaking about the father, you don't find his calmness quiet, quite peculiar, always trying to show up whether the Anthonys are when the Anthonys are having a press conference, always saying the right things on camera. Don't make this into a racial divide. I forgave him. Let the courts decide. He is too measured, almost like he is surveilling, stalking, lurking, biding time. The Anthonys better stay vigilant with these Second Amendment type gun lovers. Why the national media coverage and racialization of this incident? Is it because it is one of those upscale safe spaces that blacks don't belong? Is it a way to say to mainstream America, no matter their achievement, they are still savages? Where is the media sensationalization for Casey Allison, who was 18 at the time, stabbed Jose Luis Ramirez Jr. 4 times in Belton High School bathroom in Belton, Texas on May 3rd, 2022. This guy, Casey Allison, afterwards went on to assault a family member. Why no outrage nor national coverage? Guess white guy killing Spanish is not much of a racialized sensation. He pleaded not self-defense. Also, yet according to witness, it was premeditated. Asked his friend Chris Bittle about getting a gun before acting way more vicious when he was sending Jose Luis Ramirez Jr. home to his maker. He displayed way more vicious intent than Karmelo Anthony. Where is the outrage and question for Casey Allison? What about Kyle Rittenhouse, who was 17 at the time when he drove all the way from Antioch, Illinois to Kenosha, Wisconsin, armed with an AR-15 rifle? He claimed he went there to protect business from rioters. What is he? Security, militia, or military? Surrounding the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man in August of 2020. Antioch is about 20 miles away from Kenosha. Kyle Rittenhouse was not law enforcement, but he went all the way to Kenosha and unalived multiple people while assaulting others. He was confronted by rioters where he ran, fulfilling the criteria of retreat before unloading his rifle. This satisfied the law of self-defense. He was acquitted of all charges in November 2021. The not guilty verdict left lots of hurt feelings. Despite this, the law is the law. What is self-defense? By law. Answer: legal right of a person to use reasonable force to protect themselves, others, or property from harm or threat of harm. There are levels to self-defense laws in general. 1. Imminent threat, real and immediate danger of unlawful force. 2. Proportionality. The level of force must be reasonable and not excessive to the threat. 3. necessity. The use of force must be necessary to prevent harm. If escape or de-escalation is possible, it may be required. 4. Unlawful aggression. The attacker must be the one who initiates the unlawful threat or violence. Austin Metcalf. No retaliation. Self-defense is not revenge or punishment. After the fact, it must be a response to a present threat. Karmelo did what is required by self-defense law. They are going to try and stick him with imminent threat and proportionality, but that is subject to interpretation. A good lawyer can do wonders with that, given America's racial climate towards black people. Karmelo, 5 feet 11 inches, 162 pounds, was afraid when confronted by Austin and Hunter, who are much huger than him in size. Jamaicans have a saying, 2.1 a murder. Karmelo covered his ass with stand your ground laws. In some states, you do not have to retreat before using deadly force if you are in a place you have legal right to be and you did not provoke the person. Once again, Karmelo covered that. Austin and Hunter Metcalf obviously was the aggressor. You can stand your ground without backing away. In Texas, legal rights to use force, lethal or not, is protected under Texas Penal Code Chapter 9. Seems like the authorities know the kid is within his rights. That is why they are wording the report in a certain way to try and circumvent the self-defense law. They might try to take with the youth. Self-defense. Judge Joe Brown on the internet social space to muddy the water by him presenting premeditation to the narrative. Listen to the latter excerpt from Judge Joe Brown and give your opinion. Judge Joe Brown, on full display using his legal mind in a biased way against the kid. Be aware of these black skin traitors. This is a synopsis from the real DNA. In the words of retired Judge Joe Brown, now YouTuber, the truth behind Karmelo Anthony's self-defense controversy, the more that comes out, the more it looks less and less like a proper self-defense case, and more like a premeditation involved to set this up. Set what up, Judge? Self-defense? People are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond the shadow of a reasonable doubt. And we have yet to get the indictment process going. My response to that is you are insert. My response to that is you are tainting the potential juror pool with your biased preconceived notion beforehand. What is your agenda, Judge? Sir? How irresponsible of you, Judge? Listen to how this farmer judge is stacking the deck against Karmelo Anthony. 1. Why he is carrying a knife to attract me? This is what the judge asked. When he is a participant. Answer. The kid with a knife can be for various purposes. It could be to peel fruits. He is an athlete, and athletes eat fruits like orange, right? As well as it could be also be for self-defense. As you all know, it is very dangerous for black men and black youth living in America. Violence and racist society. By the way, Mr. Judge, a licensed firearm holder is carrying a gun, means they are looking for trouble or they are carrying it for self-defense, should the need arise. The judge's line of questions demonstrate he's trying hard to give the wrong impression that this kid is a violent or have violent intentions. It is so sad that a supposedly black man of this caliber is using his legal mind to make presumptive arguments that can cause harm to this case and Karmelo Anthony's future. You know how people are gullible and his judgeship carry weight in the court of public opinion. Why is he under the tent sheltering and the wrong team side, the judge continues. Insert, because it was raining and it is possible that the tent was closest to him, so he took shelter. Why is it he, what, the judge again, why is he where somebody else on that team that he is had prior animosity with? Why he on social media preceding week boasting or advertising that he is going to do what he's going to do in retaliation? Insert. In retaliation for what, judge? Again, it seems like the judge is privy to certain information we are not. But thus far, there is no negative information about the kid. He had this is a judge again. He had the lay idea of self-defense. I have a right to do that. The judge continued. No, you don't. You have a right to fist fight. If all you are going to take is a physical beating, that's not going to be life-threatening. Even if you're going to take that beating, you don't have any justification to use deadly force to resist it. It's just that you got your butt beat. Plain and simple. If all you are facing is getting your butt whipped, you cannot kill someone under those circumstances. It must be something that causes reasonable belief that you are in danger of suffering death or serious body injuries, which is not a split lip, black eye, or bruises. It has to be life-threatening injury that is unlikely to happen with 17-year-old in an unarmed fist fight. Presumptive reason by the judge. Here is one. Fight broke out at Coy Kendall Stadium between two 17-year-old athletes, Austin Metcalf and Karmelo. Austin punched Karmelo in the face, where Karmelo fell and hit his head on the edge of the table and died. Headline: Simple fistfight turned tragic and Karmelo lost his life. Let us racialize this. White student beat black student to death. This is what they are doing. The Karmelo Anthony and Austin incident, racializing it. And Judge Drew Brown is putting forward presumptive argument, even writing his own script for sentence the youth cause in a public opinion, because that's why he wanted to taint it. He went on to speak about this at the judge again. Trespassing and you can use force to throw them out or eject them. The lady in the podcast, Dana, talk counter. He was not trespassing, Judge Brown said. He was not trespassing. Judge Brown said, yes, he was. Under the tent of the other team. The lady said it was not illegal against law or policy that say you cannot go under another school tent. Also, he dashed under the tent for shelter. Judge says, so what? You get wet. If someone tells you you don't have license or invitation to be up under here, it is reserved for a certain category. I wonder which category the judge are talking about. You have to leave. You have been advised you no longer have an invitation or entitlement to be there. You have to leave. If you don't, you are under condition of trespassing. The lady counters with Austin Metcalf don't have a right to tell him that because he was not the authority. He was not a school official. He did not pay for that tent to be there. He was not a sponsor. Judge said he doesn't have to be. He could have been a designated. This legal bias by the judge only says to me he is muddying the waters for the prosecution. Why is this judge so adamant and biased with his one-sided version of what happened according to Hunter? Are you sure Hunter is telling the truth, Judge? Once in the cruiser, Anthony asked if Metcalf was okay and if what he did was self-defense. This concerned question from the kid they are trying to spin into something else, like premeditative murder. This is where Judge Dobron went in on the kid. First, by declaring he ran his mouth too much, he quasi remove his defense because self-defense say you cannot escalate force unless there is desperate strength between attack and attacker, meaning attacker is bigger than the attacked, which Austin and Hunter are 6 feet 220 pounds each, way bigger than Carmela at 5 feet 11 inches, 162 pounds. Two young persons fighting does not constitute lethal violence. This is the judge again. Meaning simple fight don't need no knife. Or the judge know that the kid had the knife because he had violent intent. According to the record, the kid is a good kid. No criminal history. Plus, he does not know Austin to want to cause him harm. Where the judge getting his information about Carmelo? These questions only show that he is using his legal mind to mask his preconceived bias notions about black youth. But Carmelo is a gem they are trying to tarnish. According to the judge, he should have just fought it out physically without resorting for a knife. I object, Judge. Let the record show the judge is presenting a biased supposition about the kid. Judge, where does the evidence say clear intent on the usage of the knife? Could he have possessed the knife for peeling a fruit and when the altercation occurred afterwards in fear of being jumped by these two 6 foot 220 to 225 pound linebacker bullies, he resorted to the knife to scare them off, which went bad? How many times we have seen a simple fight turn deadly? From the throwing of a punch to falling and hitting of head and losing their life. How does the judge know if the kid had not experienced someone being unalive in front of him due to physical confrontation and fight or a fight, and he is walking around with that fear, that trauma? The judge seems to forget that the kid was being confronted and outnumbered at least 2-1 by Austin and Hunter. Carmelo Anthony produced and using the knife is no longer self-defense because this are the judge again. Carmelo Anthony produced and using the knife is no longer self-defense because his life was not in imminent danger. How do you know this, Judge? Because the situation seems harmless by what you heard. The kid placed his hand in his bag as a deterrent and warned them not to put hands on him. Austin ignored an attack and paid the price with his life for not taking caution to the kid's warning. Why didn't Austin stop from his aggressive pursuit when Carmelo warned him with hand in bag? Why didn't Austin went and called for school authorities to get involved and remove Carmelo if he was in an illegal space? What was wrong with Carmelo taking shelter in the tent other than Austin and Hunter taking issue with him being there? Maybe Austin knew he had no right to do so, therefore he tried brute force and then lost his life, which is really sad and tragic and senseless affair. But here comes the judge again, stating that the kid ran his mouth too much and forego his Fifth Amendment and Miranda rights by not shutting up. Be silent, say nothing. Now all that he said can be used against him in court. This is what the judge stated again in the interview. This is to show that the kid is innocent, because if it was premeditated like the judge already inferred, he would have known to shut up. He is an innocent kid, not thinking like a criminal. 1 minute he is smart enough to manipulate the self-defense law to commit murder, and the next he does not know how to exercise the Fifth Amendment. Make it make sense, Judge. Joe Brown. Either Carmelo is smart or he's stupid. The information they are releasing is very suspicious, especially when they say the kid pulled the knife out and stated, "Touch me again, punch me." Don't this sound like a poor written fiction? Anyway, a knife is a dangerous weapon. Why didn't Austin back up when you know? Why didn't Austin back up when he saw the knife? You know why? He is a bully. And it was after they attacked Carmelo, the knife came into play in self-defense. You all can continue push this one-sided false narrative without complete facts. All because the kid cries self-defense, they are trying to create counter-narrative. Judge Joe Brown Judge Joe Brown's motive should be questioned with his presumptive lopsided reasoning. Why there are no video posting of this incident? Why is that? Isn't that peculiar? Strange? If Carmelo was wrong, they would have had videos posting all over the net like how they are doing now with their one-sided counter-narrative for a public crucifixion of the kid. Maybe the videos they have might put Austin and Hunter in a bad light. It is such a shame to see all these black-skinned YouTubers publicly executing and casting aspersion on Carmelo. In the court of public opinion. Based on what Hunter Metcalf stated, what about presumed innocent before guilt? There is no video evidence other than Hunter's word and the lifeless body of Austin. All information about this incident came from the Metcalf side. Carmelo is already found guilty by these black-skinned cowards, pretending they are on the side of justice, right and wrong. What about Carmelo's rights to a fair and impartial trial? What about due process of law? I know it is always easier for you, black skin traitors, to sacrifice your own instead of going up against mainstream America. In this era of MAGA and Trumpism, you cowards are afraid to get cancelled. America's past and present racist tendencies are very much alive. If it was not, if it was not so, this incident would not have reached national coverage. Do you know what Casey Allison murdering Jose Luis Ramirez, Kyle Rittenhouse, unaliving multiple people, and Austin Metcalf have in common? They have all been imbued with centuries of manifest destiny. They have a right to do as they see fit. This is why they all behave the same. And likewise for you fearful black-skinned cowards. For centuries they have instilled the fear of their gods, demand your obedience and allegiance to them. Anything to the contrary is met with venom. Why you think you celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesus today? Because they went against the system of oppression and paid the price. Any dissenters will face either eradication or made an example of. This is the uphill battle the young lion Carmelo Anthony is up against for unaliving one of theirs. When they are through, they will ensure that the self-defense law is not applicable to him. As you can see, black-skinned traitors are offering him for sacrifice like how Abraham did to Isaac. Like how black-skinned social media personalities and their sacrificial posting of Carmelo on social platforms pandering to mainstream America saying he is black but we are the white kind of black. Don't know them personally, but I can guess they are either corporate, interracial, oneness and diversity type, or they live in a predominantly white community and they don't want to be associated with black, or they are just plain old human beings. Though I don't agree with their cowardice, I know it is rooted in the terror and diabolical nature of white supremacy. As mentioned before, the Bacchus Rebellion of 1676 to 1670 started the black and white divide in America. Today's lynching is called economic strangulation, imprisonment, cancel culture, or death. It is beneficial and safer for them to be on the white side. That is why I and I say, Rastafari, I and I don't want to be on the white side. I and I is on the right side. Rastafari. I and I as a parent have to rethink this position. Don't eat first, but anyone put hands on you, defend it. I am sure Carmelo was taught these very words and he acted and protected himself. It is so sad when you think you are protecting yourself and now you are branded a criminal, a murderer, sentenced and judged by public opinion without due process. We have to go more in depth with our children about self defense laws through education. If Austin had known the self defense laws, he would not have asked the officer anything about acting in self defense because he would have known. Thus, relinquishing the Fifth Amendment, we got to do better in preparing our children to face racism and violence. Not that it will protect them from white supremacy, but at least they would have known when they have acted within the law. Black skin colors would have still thrown you under the white bus to Mega's Trumpism. Make America great again. That's what I mean by MAGA, Trumpism. And you know, say Trump right now, you story up and empower racism or reinvigorate racism in America. That's what I mean by Trumpism and MAGA Trumpism. Question: where is the outrage for the Ramirez family? Where are the sympathies? Where are the wrong and right? Morality. Some of you probably don't even know who they are. They lost their son Jose Luis Ramirez to a school stabbing done by Casey Allison, who stabbed Joe. That's what his friend called him. Yes, Jose is too Latino. Again, he was stabbed 4 times, not one. Let me repeat, 4 times, deliberately, in Ramirez's chest, back, legs, and arm. This was done in the school bathroom in Belton, Texas. Not a stadium in Fresco, Texas, but a high school bathroom. What Latinos' life don't matter? Are you black skin traitors only care about white lives? Where is your moral compass of outrage? Why your social plans are so quiet? Your master did not send you all out to perform and make this a national issue? Do you know Belton, Texas and Fresco, Texas is about 162 miles apart, about 30 to 50 minutes driving? They should be getting the same national coverage. Why are you hypocrites not screaming justice for Jose Luis Ramirez? His family is still hurting. Matter of fact, the case is still pending. You all should go out and give equal attention to Be Fair. No, you all will not. Pondering and being sympathetic to mainstream America is more important. It will definitely add credits to your all-coon card. When one of you all, our children, get pierced by the venom of America's racism, then what? Crying, begging for justice? Please, to remember, you all chose to turn your backs on us for privileged status. Learn this. Just as much as you all cannot divorce from your blackness, America will not divorce itself from the doctrine of manifest destiny. The Anthonys are coming into the reality of progress. Don't change your blackness or give inclusion. They are probably one of those who thought running away from the violence of the black community to better, meaning white neighborhoods, bring safety. No matter where you all go, the toxin of America's white supremacy will find you. For the ones who think they can escape through miscegenation, you all too will be rudely awakened from your state of delusion because you are black. No oneness in diversity or equity inclusion will protect or change that reality. Until you learn that a land of your own is power, take a page from Israel, the black continent away arrival. Pool your resources and invest in her. Build her up to your satisfaction, like how all Israelis did with Israel having dual citizenship in any part of nation, Africa. You chose. Do it collectively, like how Marcus Garvey showed us with the Universal Negro Improvement Association. It is still viable with collective security. These are the challenges Rastafari is faced with. And this is why I and I kick the knowledge of Rastafari. Only knowledge of self and where you stand in the struggle can save us. No room for divisiveness, delusionary thinking, and confusion. One mindset, Caribbean, Nation, African diaspora unity. Jah Rastafari without apology. Sealer.